All right, second recording of the day, and we are here with Tony Iceman Johnson.
Yes.
Actually, you go Iceman Tony Johnson, huh?
Yeah, it usually flows better, but it's all the same.
Yeah. Well, tell people how. First of all, I want to tell people that you do have your own podcast.
Yes.
And so go ahead and tell people how they can reach either just your social media platform and your podcast.
Okay, for social media, I'm Tony S on Facebook. I'm Iceman_Tony_Johnson on Instagram. Iceman Tony J on Twitter, and Iceman Tony J on Stereo app, which is kind of a cool new emerging app that's coming out. Essentially, it's like
get a little closer to the mic.
You
can move it towards you if you want.
It's like being on a phone call.
Yeah,
that other people can listen in, and then they can like make their comments and give you feedback, and they can share a clap, and like they can. It's pretty cool. It's new.
Yeah.
So
it's called what now?
Stereo.
I'm gonna have to look into it. Might be a good place to get the podcast famous. New social media, new podcast.
It's emerging.
Another avenue.
Get in it before it gets hot.
Yeah. And then your podcast is called Side Missions.
Yes.
And I really enjoy the play on words there because you're talking about doing side missions, but it also relates to video games. Go ahead and explain all that.
Yes. So basically, I got the idea loosely off of video games where you'll complete the main story. And after you do that, you have all this other opportunity to level up your character, explore the city and terrain, and those are usually the side missions in those games.
Yeah.
So I took that idea and just applied it to different things in life. So my first episode was cold exposure, and I did that for 7 days straight and shared that on my social media. And then did basically like a recap on how I felt afterwards and called that my XP episode. So I leveled up 1 XP in the cold exposure domain.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really like how you're doing that. I was just telling you before we recorded, I haven't actually listened yet, but that's only because I've had to find a different pattern or a different habit to listen to my podcast because my old habit was not a healthy one. So I've been switching things up.
Yeah.
But yours is on the list, and I'm excited to listen to it too, especially with the cold exposure because I'm somebody who has recently, in the past few months, started taking like nothing but cold showers. And I don't ever wear a coat. I enjoy. You know what's weird? Actually, when it started to get a little bit warmer, but it was still kind of cold, like in the 40s. Then I felt cold. I didn't feel cold when it was like 17. I was like, yeah, no big deal. I went out and it was 40. I was like, oh, it's freezing out here.
I think your body's just confused at that point. Like if you're cold showers, you go out when it's cold and snow and ice and everything. As soon as it starts to warm up, your body's like, what is this?
Right.
How do I react to this now?
Yeah, maybe that was
so
it.
Extreme.
Because it definitely threw me off. I was like, I feel like I should be cold right now. Everybody keeps talking about how nice it is, and I feel freezing.
Yeah. Like today, it's like 50, and I was like, I'm overdressed. For,
You actually have way more clothes on than you did for the Be Kind podcast when it was really cold outside. You had shorts and a t-shirt on.
Yes.
Now you're wearing pants and a long sleeve shirt.
Yeah. I have to roll up the sleeves. This is like a 20-year-old shirt.
Yeah, which is crazy because it's in great condition.
It was tucked away for many years.
He just had it framed on the wall.
I was like, hey, we're going to do a podcast. Why not bring back the old school Harding wrestling long sleeve?
And then I actually wore a WWE shirt because we're both wrestling fans, so I thought it was fitting.
That was was that like his 2002 run? Is that on that shirt?
Probably newer. My friend bought it for me for Christmas one year. He bought it for me because I use brother all the time. I'm like, oh, what's going on, brother?
You texted me brother today.
Yeah.
You're like, you good for two, brother?
Yeah.
Now I just got to hear Hogan voice.
It's my thing. I used to run I used to own and run a like wrestling forum site. It was called Wrestling Heaven. It's now part of Wrestling Click because they bought it out. Oh. But everybody on there, because I always said brother even back then, they'd be like, man, it's like we just have Hulk Hogan in the chat bots. But back to your side missions. What are you going to do next?
My next episode is going to be on meditation.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was kind of alluding to the topic being so vast in my XP episode because I'm like, man, like it's so rough because meditation is so vast.
Yeah.
It's like thousands of years old. There's different styles and it's just like, man, where do I even start researching this stuff? So I think I narrowed it down pretty good. So that should be coming out Monday.
Nice. for an extra part of that, if you wanted to, at Amanda's studio, she recently had somebody come on that does guided meditation. Her name, I think it's Lisa Mort, and I actually went to one of the classes, and it was awesome. We actually just talked about meditation on the previous recording.
Wow.
Go figure. But it was really cool. She does a lot with like the breath. All right, sorry about that technical difficulty. It's been a day of technical difficulties, man.
Really?
Yeah, even setting up for the first podcast was a bit of a shit show. And then the computer wasn't working, so the screens weren't on for the first one, which are a new addition, actually, since you've been here.
That?
Yeah. And
I wasn't there a lot. Yeah, that too.
I have this one for the camera, like so people can see what we're looking at, and then this one for us. And then I'm going to do the same thing at the one over there. But we were talking about meditation.
Yes.
So I went and did it, and it was awesome. But I was thinking, I don't know if you have everything recorded for it already.
Nope. I'm going to record it tomorrow.
It'd be cool if somehow you could get in with her. And then if you ever decided to have a guest, I mean, you actually have somebody in the area that does guided meditation.
Yeah, I might revisit that. I know for the first, I don't know, maybe 10 to 15, I'm probably going to just keep it solo. Because I'm at the point where I'm not super comfortable reaching out to people like, hey, you want to do this podcast you never heard of, and I'm this guy you don't really know. Like, I want to get established that I can depend on myself to get it out.
Right.
And then down the line, maybe looking to start bringing people on.
Yeah, really what I did when I first started, because I always wanted to talk to people, because that was my thing. I like to have conversations with people. I just reached out to friends, like, hey, let's get on. And at first I would have like notes and stuff just in case we like got stuck like with recent news or something like that. And now people will say like, so what are we going to talk about? I'm like, oh, I have no idea. I have no clue. Amanda asked me that before this previous recording. She was like, so what are we going to talk about? I'm like, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Just jump in the water and swim.
Yeah. I actually had the most recent episode of Gathering of Fools was with my friend Kyle Minifield, and we're friends, but we've never had like a full conversation. Like we've seen
your
each other.
friends in passing.
Like we're friends on social media,
Okay.
and like if I bumped into him at the gym, we talk for a minute. If I saw him at the gas station, we talk for a minute. Back in the day when Triple Play was open, we'd talk for a minute in there if we saw each other in there. But we never like really sat down and had like a full on one-on-one conversation.
Wow.
So. Again, somebody asked me, they're like, what are you and him going to talk about? I'm like, oh, I have no idea. I've never had a full conversation with the guy. We went for almost 2 hours. Yeah.
That's impressive.
But he's a content creator, too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he kind of gets how to keep the conversation alive and ping-ponging ideas and stuff.
He does a lot. Like you with doing solo. He's a gamer.
Okay.
So he does stuff on Twitch. And then he also does TikTok and... YouTube.
Oh.
Yeah, but a lot of his is just solo stuff.
So is he like review games or
He does he'll right now he's doing Resident Evil 7 and he's actually just playing through the game.
Oh, okay.
And you just watch him play through the game, which I think is cool. I think he should do the Last of Us games.
I've heard of those, but I've never played them.
But you do game though, right?
Yeah, I have a PS4 and a Switch.
Yeah, you have the PS4 and you've never played either The Last of Us.
Nope. Or that cool samurai game everyone talks about. The
Yeah, I
Ghost
haven't-
of something.
Yeah, I haven't
Ghost of
played.
someone.
I haven't played that one, but those two Last of Us games are leaps and bounds my favorite games I've ever played. Not really a lot of side missions in them, but talking about side missions, though, the first game, like story mode game that I probably ever really got into that wasn't a sports game, did have side missions, and it was Final Fantasy X.
Oh, okay. Is that PS2?
I think so, yeah. And
I have the demo for that.
Oh, man, such a great game, but I also never beat it. I got stuck on this one part, and I was stuck on it for like a month, and I was like, all right, I'm done. I can't get past it, and it still eats at me.
Like you want to go to your room and like hook up the PS2 now, like, I'm gonna show you Final Fantasy X.
Yeah, but I've also decided I can't play games at least for a little while because that was part of the bad habits.
Yeah. So that's even like now it's taunting you like
Yeah, yeah. It's like now that I'm telling myself I'm not going to play, now all of a sudden Final Fantasy X lives in my head. I'm like, son of a bitch, that game. I quit playing games, and that game I never beat it.
Mm-hmm.
But the Last of Us, man, the storylines on those are just insane. Like,
aren't they making a movie?
They're making a TV show.
TV show, okay.
Yeah, they're making a TV show, which I'm super excited for, nervous about as well.
Because you love the game so much, you would hate to see it get ruined on the small screen.
Like if they don't do it well, because the storylines are epic, like truly epic, like you're watching a great movie. Like the first one I played, I was actually dating a girl at the time, and she wanted to watch me play it.
She got into it just because of graphics and everything.
And the storyline is like a really good movie. Like at the last mission or whatever, the last sequence, you're trying to save the girl, and I'm like, I was so fired up. I stood up. I was like, I am killing everybody in here, and she was like, get him. Wow. So it wraps you up, and the second one was even better than the first.
Wow.
You know, you got weird people that complain that there was a lesbian aspect, but I don't know why you care about that.
No.
Yeah. Who cares if?
Wait, is the main character a woman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the first one, it's like a split between a guy and a younger girl.
Okay, because that's the cover, right, of the game.
Yeah.
It's like an older man and a girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the second one, you're pretty much one of two girls. And
is it the same girl that was a little girl in the first?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then a new girl that they introduce in this one.
Okay.
And I like it because it's like kind of like a zombie apocalypse, but they do a good job of portraying the fact that it's a big part of what you have to worry about in those scenarios is actually other people.
Oh, just scared other humans?
Yeah,
like trying to take your resources.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Think you're gonna cause them harm, so they come after you.
Yeah, yeah.
That's realistic.
To me, that's more realistic.
Yeah.
I mean, their zombies are a little bit more intimidating than the ones you see in like The Walking Dead. Because The Walking Dead, they're just walking at you real slow.
Yeah.
You know, like a horde should be the only scary thing. Like, it's always crazy to me. Do you watch Walking Dead?
I've actually read more of the graphic novel than ever watched the show.
Yeah.
But
graphic novel's probably pretty good. I heard that the Daryl character doesn't even really exist in the graphic novel.
Not that I remember.
Yeah, which is crazy because he's massive on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in the show, there'll be times where, like, 2 zombies end up killing somebody, and I'm like, come on, man.
Like you couldn't outrun them?
Right. Just move to the left.
Yeah. I know
like
Resident Evil, they got better with that, too, because I think they were super slow in the beginning, but then I think by Resident Evil 5, they were, like, running after you. And you had to, like, use ATVs and all this stuff to get away from them. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely more like that in the game. But you fight a lot of people in the game. Yeah, so I think that's a positive aspect to it instead of just a whole bunch of slow-moving zombies.
Yeah. Although I'm sure picking those off, like, as they're coming at you, like, with a pistol or something, probably feels satisfying.
Oh, yeah, of course. It's one of the reasons I love the original versions of the Call of Duty zombies. I always loved those. They were fun. I got way too addicted to those. We'd get, like, 4 people in the same room with separate TVs.
Oh, connect, like, through the LAN?
We would just do it over the Wi-Fi, honestly.
Oh, okay.
We would do it over the Wi-Fi and then just, like, actually, like, communicate with each other. I like teamwork in games like that. I'm a big fan. So we would just be like, on your left. I have to reload.
You guys are like a real military unit. Calling out moves and, like,
right.
hold. And everyone's like...
Yeah, we would always be at my friend's house, and his wife would just be like, you guys are ridiculous.
I'm sure my girlfriend would give me that look, too. If we're in the rooms yelling across to each other, like, stop. Like, what are you guys doing? It's just a game.
Right, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
So another thing that me and you really connected on was you have a certain amount of love for wrestling, like professional wrestling.
And amateur, too.
And amateur, yeah. But and you actually do some of you do amateur wrestling, I guess. Well,
I did.
Yeah.
Like you coming up through school.
Yeah, but then you did some of the show wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's where the nickname comes from, right?
Yes.
Iceman, Tony Johnson, which works out great for your first episode of Side Missions, doing the cold therapy stuff. So what was? I know you told it on Be Kind, but I want to hear how you got that started. How you got started in that professional wrestling type scenario.
Well, I'd been a fan starting around 8 years old. That's when Shawn Michaels, before he got hurt, him, Triple H, like that crop of guys in the later 90s kind of caught my eye. And
Shawn Michaels, best of all time.
He's my favorite.
Yeah.
And you can argue, who's better or not. But as far as, like, if you put on the TV and what I want to watch from that period of time to now, Shawn would definitely be in the top 10 of things I'd want to see.
Yeah. Well, to me, like, the thing about him is, one, his in-ring work was great. He was good at putting himself over and the other person over. And his mic skills. Like, mic skills are something that seemed to hinder a lot of people in that profession, and he was great at both.
Yeah.
And actually, a lot of I always forget about this, but a lot of the first matches they did, he was part of. Like the first time they did a ladder match, it was Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon. First, I believe he was one of the first Hell in the Cell.
Yeah, him and Undertaker in '97.
Yeah.
Bad Blood.
But a lot of like experimental matches like that, they always put him in there because who's the showstopper,
Right?
you know. But anyway, continue.
Basically, just growing up playing. Also, video games is another tie-in. Like those wrestling games,
They were awesome.
They were, yeah, especially back then. You play them now, they're gonna be
Not as great.
But
yeah,
like was it WWF Warzone
on
PlayStation? The WrestleMania 2000.
I used to love playing the Royal Rumbles. That's back in like the Sega days.
The arcade.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah. I love those, man. The arcade game back in the day was what really got me hooked on the video games for wrestling, for sure. So much fun.
Crazy.
Get like Papa Shango and stuff out there.
Doink
the
1,
Clown.
2, 3 Kid.
Oh, the 1, 2, 3 Kid. How much did that persona change? He went from the 1, 2, 3 Kid to X-Pac. Like,
yeah,
that's a drastic difference.
I mean, X-Pac in a way kind of has an adult film.
Not in a way.
I'm just saying 1, 2, 3 Kid didn't.
That's true.
X-Pac
he did not.
X-Pac
has an X-rated film. He has a catalog.
Rest in peace, China.
Yeah, rest in peace. That's hilarious. In a way, had a porno film. No, he had a porno film. In a way.
I mean, he was young and innocent as 1, 2, 3. But
young and innocent is the perfect way to describe it. All right, but back to the story.
Yeah, so watching it on TV, playing the games, always a fan. Then I went to college at West Liberty, and my cousin transferred there. By the time I was in college, I kind of stopped watching.
Yeah,
because I think as a fan, you get to that point where you kind of burn out, and it seems to be in between eras.
Yeah,
is when that kind of happens. It happened to me that way.
Yeah, it's like the people that you've always rooted for tend to end up taking like a backseat, like they started using Shawn Michaels just to like put other people over. Like he'd have these big matches, but it was always to put the other people over. It's like, is Shawn ever going to win a fucking belt again? No, So
yeah. And his back injury though too.
True.
Like that took him out probably sooner than he would have. But it also you couldn't stop that Stone Cold momentum.
No.
Either. So I mean, WrestleMania 14 when that happened, I mean, it made sense logically, and then looking back, knowing he had a back injury,
right?
It just all played out fine, but. You weren't going to stop Stone Cold's momentum.
No. And to me, Shawn is still so good. Recently, him and, like in the past couple years, him and Triple H made that comeback against, I think, the brothers, Kane and Undertaker.
Yeah.
They're not real brothers, but you know what I mean.
The Brothers of Destruction.
Yeah, so they made a comeback in...
Is that Abu Dhabi?
I think so, and Triple H tore his pectoral muscle during the match, so he couldn't do anything.
He always tears his pec.
You got to figure that
out.
Like
3 times.
Yeah, but so he couldn't do anything. So Shawn had to like carry the whole match with these guys, and
he hadn't
did
wrestled since the
forever.
Match, I would think.
Yeah, forever it had been, and he was bald. He didn't have hair anymore.
That's also weird.
But he still put on an amazing show when they had to improvise with no Triple H because he couldn't do a damn thing.
Right.
And it was phenomenal, man. It's just like, man, that guy's timeless to me.
It's like riding a bike probably for him. Like all those years of his experience.
Yeah, but you look at him and then somebody like Ric Flair who also did it for like a really long time, and the capabilities of the two are way different. Like Ric Flair's a showman, but he's also like what do they call him, like the 5 moves of doom or something like that.
Yeah.
Where it goes like from the Flair chop to the this to that,
the backdrop.
Yeah.
The sell away and
yeah.
He would do the little corner thing where he'd flip over, go down the apron, probably take something.
Yep.
Fall off.
Yep.
But the thing is, like, for Ric Flair is interesting was, I think it was like 1975, he was in like a major airplane crash and broke his back. And the fact that he was able to sustain a career past that point, still just shows how incredible of a person, of an athlete he was.
Right.
Because for most, I think he might have been the only one to survive, or him and one other person, I think.
I actually didn't know about the plane crash.
It was
That's
like
crazy.
a 9-person plane crash, I think, in like the 70s, and he broke his back, and then basically wrestled the rest of his career with that injury on top of other wrestling related things.
Obviously, yeah. Man, that's crazy. I didn't know that. Man, I wonder how I missed that. Now I'm gonna be looking that up because that's insane. That's crazy. God, I don't even know if I'd want to wrestle after that. I'd probably like find some religion. Like I was just in a horrific plane crash where everybody else died. Jesus Christ.
Or that could spur you to keep going because you're like, if I survived, because I think he was on a plane with other wrestlers too.
Oh, I'm sure.
And
can't imagine who else he'd be traveling with.
Yeah, so it's like if you survive that and your brothers in the sport pass away and you're like, this is what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep going for it. I wouldn't stop at that point.
Man, that's wild. Whew, that's crazy. We are so easily sidetracked, though. So we can't talk about wrestling.
No, at this point, I still got it.
Okay.
At this point, see, that's where meditation comes in.
There you go.
It keeps memory, and that's one of the things I research. I was at college at this point. My cousin transferred. He was into wrestling. I wasn't. So being around him, this is at the point where you still have DVDs. There wasn't a network yet,
right?
Really streaming at this point. This is like 2009.
So it's like you have your pay-per-view, and then if not, then you got to go buy the DVD.
Yeah, you're going to Walmart or wherever,
get
your DVDs. And he was big into Randy Orton. So at that point, I think Legacy was just starting to happen.
It was at him and
Ted DiBiase,
Cody.
Jr. and Cody.
Yeah,
the three of them. So he was big into that. He was bringing me back into the fold, and just watching it again started to be like, okay, this is familiar. I remember how this feels to be a fan again.
Yeah.
And it slowly started to build that fandom back. And one day we just had the idea of like, before we get to the club that we started, there was this wrestling room, and at night, like 6-7 p.m., the wrestlers would be gone, the coach is gone, but the door was unlocked.
Yeah.
So one day we just all decided to go in there and just mess around like we did when we were kids, like putting on matches and like messing around. And like some other college kids saw what we were doing, and they just jumped in there with us. And they're like, "Oh yeah, this is crazy!" Like people just grabbing people by the head, dropping the stunners, and like you see rock bottoms on the mat and all this stuff. And it was just like, I remember how fun all this was. So
it's always fun to play make believe, and especially when you can do it with something that you love to watch.
Yes, yeah. So you add all that enthusiasm, and as college kids, really, other than going to class and doing your tests and stuff, you really don't have any responsibilities. So it was like, you know what, let's just start a club and we'll show people how to wrestle. Well, at this point, we really didn't know what we were doing. I was
going to say, because you guys were professionals.
Yeah, exactly. We watch Raw.
We watch Raw. We're ready to go.
We know how to suplex. So basically, we go to the student union and get all the paperwork done to be an official recognized organization.
Yeah.
And with that, we send a campus-wide email saying, hey, be at the gym at this time if you want to learn how to be a professional wrestler. We come up with a club name called WTF, Wrestling with Tremendous Force.
Okay.
It's tongue-in-cheek, but we figure, hey, that's how you get college kids' attention. Like, just throw something out there and see who reacts.
It's also how wrestling got some of its attention.
Oh, of course. The late 90s, like puppies and all the ridiculous stuff back then you can't really do now.
Right.
So, I mean, we come from that time.
Yeah.
So
the Attitude Era.
Of course.
Yeah.
And it's like we start the club, we say be here, we get a core group of maybe 10 people or so that show up, and basically we proceed to show them what we know.
Yeah.
Which was very little in hindsight.
Yeah.
But hey man, we're having fun.
Right.
So
that's the most important part.
Yeah, so those people were just wrestling around and doing stuff, and that goes well for a couple weeks. And then one day, this guy shows up at the gym, and he's kind of like, what are you guys doing? And it's like, we're trying to show people how to wrestle and all this stuff. And he's like, well, I'm actually in the independent wrestling scene, and what you guys are doing, like, you guys are good athletes, but this isn't really how you go about doing it.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to learn, I can show you guys some things. And we basically took him up on it, and from that point, he became our trainer, essentially.
Yeah.
So he's showing us real things, like chain wrestling and some things that we've seen, but we didn't know how to apply it.
Right.
So he's
wouldn't even know how to start.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what is this? What's a hammerlock?
Yeah.
I don't know. The guy grabbed the arm. Like, yeah.
Right.
So he's showing us how to do all this stuff, and basically from that point until January of 2010 was our training time. So it was like September of 2009 to January of 2010 was our training period of time, and then 3 of us debuted at a local wrestling promotion called KSWA in PA, Lawrenceville specifically.
Yeah.
We started at their Battle Bowl, which is basically their version of a Royal Rumble.
Okay.
So we debuted in like a Rumble style setting, and we new guys, whatever.
Yeah.
But that was our foot in the door, and from there it just continued to grow until where I'm at today.
Yeah. So you were in the Battle Bowl. Like how much of that is mapped out for you?
Battle Bowl or Rumble style matches, there's not a lot of structure, honestly.
Yeah.
Like you know who's winning, but like what you do during your time frame is kind of up to you.
Yeah.
Eventually, when the ring gets a little too crowded, like people, time to go. Like
Yeah. You got to get out of here, man.
But it's not as structured as a singles
an actual
match or a tag match.
Yeah.
So it was almost a perfect way to come in. Like we go in, we get the crowd reactions, we get that first like, we're in front of people,
yeah,
like that feeling out of it. But it was so little pressure because with those style matches, it's not really on an individual. It's like the whole spectacle of like who's coming in, the countdown, and then you hear the music hit, and
right,
that person comes. So it's all this big production. So that was really, I think, the best way to come in.
Yeah. Now, did you even know who was going to throw you out?
No.
You guys just decide that in the ring.
The veteran in the match in the ring at the time probably was like, it's getting a little crowded. It's time to go. New guy. Like,
yeah, we got to toss you out of here. But if you were like, no.
I mean, then it's a shoot at that point. It's not going to be good.
Yeah. Then the veteran gets a little angry.
Yeah. You're not booked again.
Right. Well,
there's that.
That's really cool to me, though, just because I've never met anybody that actually went through any of that process. Now, when you do an actual match, it's pretty much all mapped out, right?
No, not necessarily. Like, you can come up with an outline of like, oh, okay, you do this in your moveset, I do this in my moveset. Let's try to come up with a way where you can get your stuff in. I'll come up with a time where my stuff is highlighted, and we'll work toward whatever the ending is supposed to be.
Yeah.
So it can be as loose as that, or it can be as structured as bell ring, lock up, this move, transition to that move. Like, you can make it as improvisational or as structured as you want. It really comes down to preference.
Do you guys communicate a lot in the ring?
Yes.
Like during like lockups and stuff like that?
Really anytime. Anytime you're an arm's length away, you can talk.
Yeah. I was just because for the longest time I never noticed that, and then as like I got older, I would see times where they were talking. I think the WWE does a good job with their cameras of trying to not let you see that.
Yeah.
But definitely as I got older, I would definitely see some of it. And then the ref also is part of the whole.
They can be.
Yeah.
They can give information to either person, or if there's a time cue, like, okay, you guys got 30 seconds, like,
you gotta wrap this up.
Get to where you need to be, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ref's an important part of it all.
Yeah.
They're undervalued.
Yeah, that's what I always felt, because I've been there for a while. You would only even see, like, in the big shows, you'd only even see like 2 refs. Now it seems like they have a bunch of them. But back in the day, it was like what, Earl Hebner and
Mike Chioda.
Yeah.
Tim White. Yeah. There were about 3 in that Attitude Era that were frequent.
Yeah. It was crazy to me. I mean, I guess he had good mic skills, but back in the day, not that long ago now, but CM Punk, it always was crazy to me how big of a level he reached, because he didn't have any like flashy moves. It didn't seem like it was all kind of.
He did a springboard clothesline.
Yeah, it was all kind of like simple, basic stuff.
I mean, his finishing move was really cool.
I can't remember what that was now.
Go to sleep.
Oh yeah,
which he got from Kenta in Japan.
Yeah.
not to be confused with Kenta Kobashi, who's also from Japan.
Yeah, because he used just a lot of like actual like kicks and punches and stuff.
I think
like that.
he was touted as like Muay Thai. I think was a lot of his background, or maybe Kempo.
Yeah,
there was some martial art his character was based in.
Right, which supposedly he was a practitioner of, but let me tell you, he went to MMA and did not do good.
Well, yeah, I think he also did that probably 10, 12 years after his WWE.
Yeah.
Like when he joined WWE. And all
right,
that.
but he was bad.
I have to give a lot of that to age, probably, and the fact that while he was focusing on being the best wrestler he could be,
well,
those years of not learning MMA skills.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing was because I agree, like he was probably too old to be starting, but the first guy he fought actually was not really a jobber. The first guy he fought was Mickey Gall.
Yes,
and Mickey Gall was actually.
He was up and coming.
He wasn't really up and coming.
Right?
He had never fought.
Like
he had never fought in the UFC. He had never fought in the UFC. He had never fought for a big promotion.
He was in the lower.
He was in the lower promotions.
Okay.
So but he was like 2-0. But he had never fought in the UFC. But anybody who knew about Mickey Gall knew that he was pretty good.
Yeah.
And he washed out of the UFC. Mickey Gall did. But the second guy they put him up against was.
It sucks to lose to a guy named Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Like.
And he wasn't good. Like the big problem was, and he didn't seem to be improving. And I believe he was working with Duke Rufus, who's one of the best striking coaches on the planet. But his striking was just bad. Like the technique was bad, and he just looked panicked in there. You know what I mean? Which understandable. You're about to. This guy wants to punch you in the face.
That's a whole different mindset there.
Yeah, but if I was him. If I really wanted to test myself, I probably wouldn't have jumped into the UFC. I probably would have went somewhere smaller. And even still, I think it would have been a lot of the same turnout for him. He didn't actually possess the skill in striking that he needed. He looked awkward.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think a lot of that motivation was from a business standpoint because he was marketable.
And he got paid. And the UFC made money off of it as well.
Like the casual fans, like, whoa, this wrestling guy is gonna come over here, and the UFC fans are probably like, that guy, that fake stuff, and he's gonna get killed, and we'll pay to see him get destroyed or whatever. And
it was much different.
Hopefully, he cashed out.
Oh yeah, he definitely made money. It was much different for Brock Lesnar though. Brock Lesnar actually was successful, but I always tell people like the strongest base to have in MMA is actually wrestling. Because if you can get somebody to the ground and control them, you're in good shape.
Yeah, now, especially the top position.
Yeah. Eventually, you do need to like get your striking in line and stuff like that. But Brock didn't have great striking, but if he touched you, it was going to be a problem.
He was a collegiate, champion.
Yeah,
in Minnesota.
In his very first match, it was like you could see how much better his wrestling was than everybody else's because he fought Frank Mir. Yeah. And he got him down, and the way he was like spinning to like switch his position on the guy's body was like, oh man, people haven't seen, and especially how big he is and how fast he is.
Yeah, 265, and he's moving probably like 225.
Yeah, he's moving way faster than the rest of the heavyweights. It was crazy to see. Yeah. And honestly, his biggest problem, his striking wasn't great. It was maybe serviceable, but his biggest problem was he really did not handle getting punched in the face very well. Like he wouldn't be knocked out, but if he got punched in the face, he kind of freaked out. Yeah, he fought Cain Velasquez, and literally he got punched in the face, and it looked like he was breakdancing to get away from him.
Maybe his mind went back to WWE. Like, where's the camera? Like,
right,
take the punch and like look at it.
Well, it did. He went back to WWE for a good stint, and I was like, man, I swear, because I watched one of his matches. I was like, I swear he's trying to get used to being punched in the face because he's really letting those guys punch him in the face right now. I was watching. I was like, they're not doing the show punch. They're cracking him.
But the thing is, whenever I think it was Braun Strowman hit him a way he didn't like you saw the momentum change and you kind of was like, oh, Brock really didn't like that one. Yeah. I think he started giving him like some quick punches to the face, kind of like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So, I think Brock just has that weird switch where it can go either way. Like,
oh yeah,
if he doesn't like where it's going wrestling, he'll take it to like a legitimate style.
Yeah, when he's just a complete freak of nature. like the size of his back alone is unreal.
I think it's the tattoo.
You think it makes his back look bigger?
Yeah, I think once he got that tattoo,
His back grew.
Grew by like 15%. Same thing with his chest. Like his chest wasn't that big until he got the sword and the brass knuckles.
That's such a weird thing. That's such a weird tattoo.
I think he was like, yeah, that'll be sweet. And then when he got it on, it was probably like...
it's probably like, I fucked up. I shouldn't have got this.
Oh, well.
But literally, like, if he tried to walk through that door, he'd have to go sideways.
Yeah.
Like, that's also a smaller door than most doors. But he would have to go sideways. There's no doubt about it.
Him and Sable coming in. This is my wife, Rena. All right.
Well, hello.
Hi. I'm a fan of your work.
Big fan of your work. But it's crazy because he actually did win a UFC championship. And until recently, like the past, I don't know, 5 to 8 years, somewhere in that time frame, probably. Actually, no, probably just the last like 4 or 5 years. He had the most title defenses as well.
Really?
Yeah, because the heavyweight title used to switch like every time.
Okay.
So
now it's Stipe, right?
Yeah, he had like 2 title defenses, and that was the most.
Wow, that's a lot of flip flop.
Yeah, it's a lot of flip flop. But that's just the way the heavyweight division worked. They're just in MMA. Once you get to like the heavyweights, just seem to. I don't know if it's just because they're a little bit slower or what it is, but they don't seem to have like the same skill sets as the lower. They're just not the wide range of skill sets that the lower rungs have. It's changing some now. You're seeing some really good jiu-jitsu practitioners and stuff like that. But
yeah, well, you had Stipe. Well, no, you have Stipe. He's still there. You had DC.
Yeah.
Francis Ngannou, who's new, but
yeah,
he's a freak of nature.
He's new, but he's in his like 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got John Jones basically saying, "Hey, I'm going to heavyweight now. I'm done light heavyweight."
Yeah.
Like there's gonna be a mix in there soon.
I'm actually very excited for the heavyweight division. There's actually a guy named Tom Aspinall who just beat Andrei Arlovski, who looks really good, man. He looks like his boxing looks much faster than the rest of the heavyweight division. Wow. But then you run into somebody like Ngannou, and it's like literally if he taps you, you're going out. Yeah. And
he's the Deontay Wilder of MMA.
Basically. Yeah. He's the scary man. Like I'm a big fan of Stipe, but I really hope Ngannou wins their upcoming match.
Why?
I like Ngannou's story a lot. This guy went from like the salt mines and sand mines and stuff like that to somebody just randomly found him and he just starts knocking everybody out. And he seems like a good person. Mm-hmm. And I love his Instagram videos. He just lets like these professional fighters just blast him to the body with no pads on, just showing how strong his core is. And, like, it doesn't bother him at all. Professional boxers even. Like, it's like, dude, you shouldn't just let those people hit you like that. But
maybe it's a mental thing. Like, if he's like, you guys can hit me as hard as you want now, and I'm not even fighting you back. When it comes fight time.
Well, it's definitely toughening his core to get used to being punched. Like, if I watched those videos and then I was going to fight him in an MMA match, I'd be like, don't even bother throwing anything to the body. It's not going to bother him. Yeah. He's letting professional fighters go full bore at his body just for Instagram.
You gotta choke him.
Yeah, choke him. Try to hit him.
Can't fight losing air.
Try to punch him in the throat. I don't know. I was aiming for the chin.
Yeah. His neck's probably strong enough to not even feel that either.
Right. But I also want to see him versus John Jones. I really want. I don't know why that's the fight I want to see is Ngannou versus John Jones, because I think
contrast.
Well, and I think John Jones is going to be a problem for everybody at heavyweight too, unless somebody has that knockout power. Like the person I really wanted to see John fight in light heavyweight was Rumble Johnson, because Rumble has that one-shot knockout power as well. And then
he retired and then came back, right?
Yeah, he's in Bellator now.
Yeah,
UFC wanted him too, but he decided to go to Bellator. Bellator is actually, for the first time since I've been watching MMA, I'm like excited to see what happens because their light heavyweight division's phenomenal. Are you into MMA that much?
Casual,
yeah.
I know enough to keep a conversation, but not in-depth breakdowns or anything.
Yeah, you know Derek Lewis?
Yeah, my balls is hot.
Yeah. Yeah. He actually just said it in an interview too, because he's from Texas, and Texas just got that crazy like winter storm. Yeah. He was like, don't worry. He was in an interview. He's like, don't worry, Texas, I'm coming back. I know you guys just got that weather. It's because my hot balls weren't there.
Yeah.
He's a different breed. But he's also, again, somebody with that knockout power.
Yeah, because I think the guy he knocked out was, I guess, taunting him or talking all kind of trash online, and then I guess couldn't back it up.
Well, Curtis Blades, that he just knocked out, is known for wrestling, and everybody expected him to just take Derek down, and Derek was not the favorite to win, and even me, I said I want Derek Lewis to win, but probably Curtis Blades is going to win. But what he did to try to stop the takedowns is he threw punches. He was like, if he goes in for a takedown, I'm just going to throw an uppercut. And eventually one landed and flatlined him. And he keeps evolving in such a way that he's really making himself a big contender. And he has the most knockouts in heavyweight history for the UFC.
Wow.
Which I think a lot of people, they see him get these like last minute knockouts because he'll be losing a fight. And then the next thing you know, it's over in a blink of an eye. But I think people just kind of forget because he looks kind of unathletic and he gets beat up sometimes for a while and then just flatlines a guy.
Yeah. But that's a skill in itself to be able to weather a storm.
Oh yeah.
In MMA, because I mean, it can look down for you, but if you believe you can still get that knockout.
Yeah. Well, and he does it better than anybody else because he'll be exhausted. Like his cardio's gotten a lot better, but you'll see him and they'll be in like the second or third round. He's been getting beat up and he looks like he can't even throw punches anymore. And the next thing you know, like, oh shit, he knocked him out cold.
Wow.
It's crazy. I do see you brought a chessboard.
Yes. I wouldn't say an expert. I'm just a fan of chess.
Yeah.
It's very calming. It's meditative.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of chess. I wish I was better at it. I look at chess with very high revere. Am I saying that right?
High revere. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. I have a lot of admiration.
You have reverence. High reverence.
Yeah, and I have a lot of admiration for people who are really good at chess because I've played it. I know how all the pieces move. I'm awful. Did you ever see that Queen's Gambit show?
Yes.
I fell in love with chess all over again, and I've been wanting to learn how to play, so we may end up doing a game. But
okay.
Did you like that Queen's Gambit show?
I knew I would like it just from the trailer.
Yeah.
My only concern was if my girlfriend was going to watch it with me.
Yeah.
And I threw it on, and she's kind of, I think, just doing whatever she was doing at the time. But as the show kept going, the first episode, it was like she just went from maybe the kitchen to like by the couch, and then it's like, yeah, I'm still on my phone, whatever. Some more dialogue, some more chess action, and then she's like, now she's looking at the TV too.
Yeah.
And then from that episode 1 through the rest of the way, we watched it together and talked about it. And I was like, oh, she's gonna do this now because that would put that person in check. And then they do it on the show, and I was like, she's like, oh, they did it. It was really cool as being a chess fan.
Yeah.
Seeing chess shown so well on screen.
Yeah, shown really well, and also that show just dealt with so much more than just chess too. Like mental issues, addiction. It's just all around just such an amazing show. It's probably how Netflix does the trending 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it was on there longer than any show I've ever seen.
I just read something that said that was like the most streamed show of I think 2020 or something.
How crazy is that? Something about chess.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And it's based on a book, which I had learned after the fact.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a book written.
It's just what I need, another
I think
book.
it's like maybe 10, 15-year-old book written, and then they just adapted it for Netflix and then picked it back up.
They found a good one. I have so many books I still have to read, and I keep finding less and less time to read.
Do you do audiobooks?
I don't, because I just don't pay attention if I do.
I think you and Amanda spoke about that on the podcast. She listens to them, and you were saying you need the physical.
Yeah, I have to have it in my hand. I'm actually finally almost done with that Viking lore book, and then I have 2 more. I'm like in the middle of reading that I have at least 2 more that I have to finish. I just bought like 4 or 5 more books. I keep buying them, but I have no time to read them. I can't even find time to listen to a podcast, let alone read a book lately, it seems.
Yeah. I just listened to 2 books in the past week. James Nestor's Breathe. It's a book about breathing and, the importance of breathing through your nose and not your mouth.
Yeah.
There's breathing techniques at the end. That was pretty good. And then I listened to The Art of Learning by Josh Waitzkin, who... He was the subject of Searching for Bobby Fischer.
Oh, nice.
The chess movie about
I love
the
that.
kid
I was going to
prodigy.
bring that up. Yeah.
Yeah. So he wrote a book, I think It was like 2014 or something like that. And
Yeah.
it's basically just his idea of like how people learn and ways to optimize the learning process.
Yeah.
So those are two good books. And then now I'm listening to the new Wim Hof book.
Okay. The that Searching for Bobby Fischer, that was probably the first time I was like, man, chess is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing in Washington Square Park with the chess hustlers, and then he does the formal learning with Bruce Panolfini was his teacher.
Played by, I think, was it Joe Magento? No, Joe Magento was his dad in the movie.
Oh, man.
The
Lawrence
actor.
Fishburne was a chess hustler.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
taught him.
I love that movie. I've never followed up with it. Did they ever find out, like, he just disappeared, right?
Who?
Bobby Fischer?
Well, he disappeared after he won the world championship, 72, I believe.
Yeah.
And then when it came time for him to defend his world championship, that's when he didn't show up.
Yeah.
And then he reemerged in like the early 90s to play. I think he played Spassky again, like 1992. They had like another game. And then after that, he was just living in like another country, kind of like the world is BS. Like,
Yeah.
like I think chess was like his brain was just so wired to the chess world
Yeah.
that he seemed erratic and just not with it to the normal world.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he kind of lived the rest of his days kind of like just out of it.
Because I remember at the end of that Searching for Bobby Fischer movie, they were like, and he was never seen again, or something like that.
Yeah, he reemerged at one.
Okay. Yeah, because that was crazy to me, too. I feel like people who end up with that... Did he beat the guy when he came back?
I don't remember.
But it seems like people who master something so mentally intensive like that, like chess is, you know, it seems like they do. They kind of like go into their own world.
Yeah.
I don't know if their brain hurts them or what.
Well, I think because chess itself is like, I feel like it's so concrete of a concept to where like outside of that framework of chess, like if your brain can't think of another way of seeing the world, like you only relate in computations and like, okay, if this happens, and just seeing the world kind of in this logical linear
There's
style.
only like a certain amount of variables.
Yeah.
And in real life, there's like infinite variables.
Well, the thing with chess, like on the opening move, I think it's calculated like there's like 1,000 opening moves that could happen, like potentiality based on what moves. And it's just like, as you go further in the game, that is less and less until the obvious checkmate. But in the beginning stages of the game, there's so many variables and opportunities that can present itself as you play that it is very, very expansive.
Yeah, it's wild. It's just so weird to me, like, because they portrayed like the kind of the craziness of the brain in Queen's Gambit as well, like when people dive into stuff like that. Seems like Russians handle it well, huh?
Well, at the time when chess was really popular over there was like state-sponsored chess schools.
Yeah.
So it was basically like, all right, we're going to take this core group of people and basically put them in this chess organization. State covers everything, and they're going to be the best at chess because we're investing this money.
Yeah.
Like at the time when that World Championship game happened in the 70s, there was still like the Cold War tension. There was like national dominance. Like if we win in chess, we're showing the other countries around like we have superior brain power.
Yeah.
So there was like political motivations to be good at chess too. And like on the Russian style, state sponsored, you know, we're throwing everything behind this. In the US, you had Bobby Fischer, who was this like standalone maverick. Like he didn't really have any support from the US government while he's just training in his apartment and reading books and going through all of his, you know, classic games and study. Like it was basically just him against this whole country.
Yeah.
So when he won the world championship, I think that's what made it so incredible. Because really, it was just this one guy seemingly against a whole entire country.
Right. And they portray that in Queen's Gambit as well. Like they actually work together, Russia. Yeah. Hmm. Crazy world.
I actually know a little bit of Russian. I took.
Do you?
I took Russian in college.
It seems like a hard language.
Da.
Is that yes?
Da.
Da.
Da da.
All right. What? Da.
Yes.
Da da.
I'm trying to remember. It's been a while. Set of keys It's a funny word. It's called cluchie.
Cluchie?
Cluchie, yes.
Like where's my cluchie?
Cluchie, yes. Parrot is papugai.
Papugai.
Yes, papugai. Very good is herashol.
Very good is хорошо.
Herashol.
Хорошо.
Yes.
Oh.
Spasiba. Very good. Spasiba.
Spasiba.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me give you a phrase. If I was to ask you your name, it would be Minyazavut. And you would say Kakivazavut.
Kakivazavut.
And then I would say Minyazavut Tony.
Minyazavut. That's a little bit that may sounds a little bit Spanish. I know a little bit of Spanish, like tengo el gato en los pantalones.
You want the cat in my pants?
No, I have a cat in my pants.
Okay. I want is yo quiero. Quiero, yeah. Yo quiero Taco Bell.
Una cerveza en la biblioteca.
You have a beer in the library?
Yeah.
I did Spanish for 2 years in high school.
I don't know why those are the two phrases I know.
I remember how to ask to go to the bathroom because that was the thing you had to do in school.
Yeah, el baño.
Permíteme ir al baño.
Permíteme el baño. Ah. I took Spanish, actually, 2 years of Spanish in high school, and I forgot 99% of it. Obviously,
yes.
One of the phrases I know is I have a cat in my pants. So,
public education.
Big Red. Yeah. But so, when I worked at JCPenney's, we had this customer that came in, and he didn't speak any English, so everybody just like avoided him because they didn't. But I was like, man, I'm in Spanish too now. I'll go talk to him. And I was like, and I can't remember the actual sayings now, but that's something like, Señor estudiante español or something like that. And he was like, oh, and then he just started flying, and I was like, I just kind of stared at him. And then walked away.
You opened Pandora's box. That first phrase is like, "Oh, great!
Yeah.
You're a fluent speaker too." Like, no.
Pequeño español.
Tranquilo.
Easy now.
Muy difícil.
Yeah, he really threw me off. And then that's when I decided I was never going to try to speak Spanish to people again, except for cat in my pants.
Well, you imagine how easy it is now, like with Google Translate.
Oh,
like
yeah.
If you just, I think you type the phrase and then you pick the language you want, and then you could just show.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be awesome back in that story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would have been great. Like, we didn't even have cell phones.
Yeah.
I might have had a pager. Amanda was recently talking about trying to take a trip to Mexico just so she can like plan one of her yoga retreats. And
wow, you need a trip to plan a retreat?
Yeah.
That's a crazy life she lives. All right, I'm gonna go out of the country to think about how to get other people to come with me somewhere. Also, probably nice.
Yeah, but so she was like, I just feel like it'll be hard for me to go that amount of time without speaking Spanish. And I kind of thought, I didn't bring it up, but I kind of thought for a second what you did, like, oh, just use like Google Translator, you'd probably be fine.
Yeah,
I'd be more worried about the cartel.
Stay in the resort area. That's what they always say.
Yeah. Yeah,
those kind of places.
That's what they say. I don't think that's actually what she has in mind. I think she wants
She's
to.
She's gonna go into the city.
I think she wants to go into like a jungle.
All right.
Yeah, which makes sense. Zen, but
connect with nature, huh?
Yeah. Oh man, I really want you to go to one of those meditation classes because, like I said, I went to one. I found it. I didn't get to where like some people say they go, like, because I've talked to a few people that have done it and they get like emotional and stuff like that.
I've never got there either. I've never cried after a meditation.
Yeah, it's definitely brought me to a point where I was thinking a lot and maybe felt like I understood some of maybe my emotions better or something like that, but never to a point where I felt like completely changed or anything like that. Just, okay, I am thinking of things on a little bit of a deeper level. But one thing she did is she did come around with like certain things that made certain noises, and then she came around at one point with chimes. And when she got to me and she was doing the chimes, like when she was at my foot, I felt like I could feel the chimes like in my foot, and then as she went around my body, I felt like I could feel them traveling in my body. That was probably the kind of the craziest thing that happened. It was a weird feeling.
Wow.
But it's something I want to explore more, but it's always booked now. You got to book out like 4 weeks in advance.
Yeah. I mean, I think starting out like guided meditation might be the easiest way because you're basically listening to someone else guide you through it. They're giving you cues like, now focus on your breathing. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
Let go of all thoughts. And it's like, cool. But like, it's if you have like 5 minutes, literally you could just sit on this couch and just like bring awareness to your breath.
Yeah.
And then that would just be the meditation for the day. Like, it can be as simple or as complex as you want it to be, but I think guided is a good place to start.
Yeah, I think guided works well for me. Like, because I've tried to do meditation on my own a few times, and I never got anything from it like I got from that. And like I understand it. Like people are like, oh, I just can't clear my mind. Like I can't go to like no thoughts. I'm like, yeah, but that's not really how it works. Like really, like you focus on your breath. You clear your mind for a certain amount of time, and then your mind wanders on its own. And then you realize your mind is wandering, and then you bring it back. And you just kind of repeat the process is how I've always understood it from people I've listened to talk about it.
That's what I've heard as well. It's basically, that's why it's called a meditation practice.
Yeah.
Like it's not meditation perfect.
Yeah.
You basically focus as much on your object or whatever, and then you realize that your mind is somewhere else, and you're like, okay, let's bring it back to whatever your focus of attention is, and then that cycle repeats, and then your time is up, and you're like, okay, now I'm gonna go face the day.
Yeah, I can't say when I did the guided one, like I felt a lot of relief. Like I felt just better at the time. You know what I mean? And probably for a little while after that. It's why I've been trying to. I want to go do another one. Honestly, I need to start doing more yoga too.
Yeah, yoga, the physical practice of yoga has that meditative aspect too, because you're just moving your body in with your breath.
Yeah.
So it's like the movement of your body kind of becomes the attention
for
focal
sure.
point, and then you're breathing, and then you're moving, you're breathing, you're moving. It's very rhythmic and equal amount of breaths in and out while you're transitioning from pose to pose.
And it's better exercise and more difficult than I think a lot of people believe it is. Like I know when I first started hearing about yoga when I was in the Air Force, I was like, okay, you just put your body in different positions, whatever. Yeah. And then when I actually started doing it, I was like, this shit is hard. Like it's a workout. Like even before I went to hot yoga, I was like sweating to death.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You're just sweating in the regular room.
Yeah.
Hot yoga is probably like way more intense.
Yeah. It for sure was, but it was also more comfortable. Like my body felt looser.
Well, yeah, because when your body's hot,
right,
you have more range of motion typically.
Yeah,
because your body warms up as you exercise.
Yeah, I don't have much range of motion though. It's something. It's one of the reasons I have to do yoga. I got to get more work on that.
Everyone starts somewhere.
Yeah, I also need to do more cardio. I've been doing really good in the gym, getting stronger and stuff like that. But it's like, for lack of a better term, like strict workouts, strict lifting. Mm-hmm. And then I recently went down to that Drip Fit.
Yeah.
And the CrossFit gym. I'm not built for that right now. Let me tell you that.
That's a different world over there.
Yeah, man. Amanda was coaching me, and we ended up after like the first set, like we're gonna scale these two parts back for you because I couldn't breathe, and she did not scale back. She was doing it with me.
She was coaching you and working out.
Yeah, and if she wasn't coaching me and trying to like push me, she probably would have lapped me. If that was a possibility of happening, like it was bad. There's something about they do these pad sit-ups where there's like a pad that goes on the ground and you actually use all your momentum to try to do the sit-ups.
Is it where you like butterfly your feet and then you like touch? Yeah.
I cannot sit-ups. Breathe after doing those. Like I busted out the first 50. Like not busted out's a little strong. But I got
to the end point of 50.
Yeah, and then I just can't breathe. It happened to me. I only went to the actual CrossFit class one other time, and it was when it was CrossFit Effect, and the same thing killed me. Something about those when I'm done with them, I cannot breathe, and it's very frustrating. And after the first set, I was like, "Oh, I forgot." And why does this happen?
Yeah.
So I got running shoes that I haven't even really used yet. I've got to start running or something, man. Because I'm stronger, I've lost 40 pounds, but
now it's the heart, the breathing.
Yeah, now I got to be able to breathe when I do things. Apparently,
but I mean, how conscious are you of your breathing when you're doing these motions? Like, are you just kind of just throwing yourself into it and just like I got to get through it no matter what, like kind of gritting your teeth and getting through it, or are you consciously breathing as well with concussions?
I don't think I focus on the breathing enough, and I think like when I do my workout, I have a full understanding of how I need to breathe. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I just think I have to figure out how I have to breathe for CrossFit because I was physically strong enough to do everything I was doing.
Yeah.
But I couldn't breathe. You know what I mean? And if you can't breathe, then you can't do it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Like there were a couple of times I got up from those sit-ups and I was like, I am lightheaded. I don't want to fall over in here.
Hold the wall.
Right. I was holding that ski machine.
The ski erg. Yeah.
I'd walk up to the ski machine and just put my hand on it for a second, like, all right, let's get it back together. Oh, okay. But I didn't have enough recovery that I would still end up while I'm doing the skier, like, okay, I can't breathe again because not enough recovery time in between there. I have 35 minutes to try to get all of these things in here. So
it was like a self-paced like workout, or
it was 35 minutes. Okay. So it started with shoulder presses, and you did 25 shoulder press with whatever weight you decide to use, dumbbells.
Okay.
And then right into 50, which we ended up changing to 25 for me, 50 of those sit-ups. Then supposed to be 750 of the skis, like
750 calories?
No, meters, I think.
Okay, I was like, good. No wonder you couldn't breathe. That's a lot.
Which we took to 500, and then, but so first it was just the dumbbells, sit-ups, then back to the 25 dumbbells, then back to the sit-ups, and now add the ski, then back to the dumbbells, sit-ups, ski, row.
Your shoulders were probably fried after that. That's a lot of shoulder, from what it sounds like.
My shoulders were fine.
Really?
I do a lot of shoulder workouts. One with what I do in my gym practice. Two, the clubs and maces. So like literally, once I caught my breath, I felt like I could go do my workout.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Like you got through that, recovered, and then you're like, all right, I can go lift my style now if I want.
Right. Yeah. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I was strong enough to do all the things, but I couldn't breathe. Yeah. So that's a massive problem. I didn't end up going to the gym just because I had stuff to do, but I still had to go to work that day, for instance. But I felt like, all right, I could go do my workout right now. And I thought about it for a second. I'm like, can I squeeze it in real quick in like 45 minutes? Because normally my workout takes like probably an hour 10, hour 20. And I've decided not to because I still had to do my meal prep for the day and go to work. So, but yeah, and zero soreness afterwards. Just could not fucking breathe. It's really frustrating.
Yeah, like when you mentally know you can do it, but your body's like, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
There's that disconnect.
Yeah. And then I made a Facebook post about it saying, I was humbled because I was humbled. I didn't like being humbled that much, but I also know it's good for me, And my sister, she's a CrossFit. Her and her husband, they're like CrossFit gurus, for lack of a better term. Like they're in crazy shape. And she had messaged on there, like, because I said on there, like, this isn't for me yet. And not that I want to become like a full-time CrossFit guy, but I want to be able to go in there and do it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go here and there. I'm not going to go all the time. But my sister said, I've been telling you for 7 years, I'm glad you finally went and you liked it. And I replied, I was like, I didn't like it at all. Like I want to conquer it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
it's like Final Fantasy, but for fitness.
Right, which is a much better focus.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now I want to get better at that. I may just avoid the workouts that have those ab things. Also,
I don't know if you can. I feel like they're in a lot of their WODs or whatever.
Yeah. Well, dude, it's also, man, it kills your ass. Like
just because you're like rolling on your.
Yeah. Like I literally was like, man, I need to either build a lot more fat back there or muscle, or I need to figure out a different way to do this, because that was another thing. Like as I was doing it, I was like, this is fucking killing me. I ended up putting my ass like on the pad.
Yeah. I thought that's what you were supposed to do.
No, your ass
is
supposed
just your lower back, right?
Yeah, your ass is basically supposed to push up against the pad.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And then you can like literally use all your momentum. And it's so frustrating because I like it's so frustrating that's what kills me, because when I go do my workout, I go into like a hang and lift my legs all the
hanging
way
leg
up,
raise.
and then I do them side to side. Like my
windshield.
core is strong, but for some reason those absolutely kill me.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can have a strong core, but it's just a movement you're not familiar with.
Yeah.
So your body's like, we can support you, but this is new.
Yeah.
So you have to learn the technique. Can you do kipping pull-ups?
I've never really tried. I do strict pull-ups all the time.
Okay, me too. And
Yeah.
it's like I can do 10 pull-ups in a row.
Yeah.
And I saw online it was like if you can do 10 regular pull-ups, like you should be able to kip or do like muscle-ups. And it's just like a lot of that though is a technique thing.
It's the motion.
Like you got to learn how to move optimally to get that accomplished.
Yeah, but that's what they say. Like, if you do get that motion down, I forget what the number is, but if you can do 10 strict pull-ups, you should be able to do like a whole bunch of these kipping pull-ups.
Yeah.
But I've never really tried them because I've never had anybody show me.
Well, I mean, if you're in a CrossFit gym every so often, I mean,
hopefully
that would
they'll
be
start
the
showing
place.
me. Yeah, because literally, like one of the things I did afterwards was I did some pull-ups once I caught my breath at the CrossFit gym. I was like, I'll do a couple pull-ups, see how my arms feel, and I'm like, yeah, I feel fucking fine. God damn it.
Yeah, I feel like pull-ups are the deadlift of the upper body. Like you work so much in one motion.
Yeah.
Just like with deadlift, you work like I think it's like 80% of all your muscles when you deadlift.
Yeah.
I feel like pull-ups are the equivalent for your upper body. Like you're just working a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I do. I've started working pull-ups in like at least every other workout, if not every workout, and I just do like 4 sets of 5 for now because I want to get it back up. Because I'd got to the point where I could do like 15 before, and then I got drastically out of shape. And the crazy thing is, I feel like I'm way lighter now than I was when I could do 15. Like when I could do 15, I probably weighed 215, and now I probably bounce right around 195.
But here's the thing you got to consider though: if you're doing pull-ups at your heavier weight, your body is going to register that as I have to be stronger because I'm pulling more weight.
True.
So essentially you would have to put on like a weight vest and then to be the weight you were then for your body to probably get to the strength that you were at that time.
Right. Yeah. When I first started back this time, I could barely do one. This was like 2 months ago. I could barely do one, and now I do 4 sets of 5. I just went to go do them, and I was like, I'll probably be able to get like 3 or 4.
It's like riding a bike, right?
Yeah. I was like, almost one. And so then I went to that
3/4.
So then I went to the pull down machine. I was like, I need to work on this for a while.
Did that humble you?
Yeah, that humbled me big time.
See,
It was like I've gotten
all these humble lessons.
Yeah, I've gotten way. Let me know, like you got way more out of shape than you thought you did. And then when I saw the comparison picture that I posted on Instagram, I was like, oh my god, look how fat you were. I hate that guy.
But I feel like in a way, you could probably thank him too, because if you were at that point in your life where you're like, I don't necessarily want to be here.
Yeah.
That might have been the spark to get you to start moving down the path you want to be.
Yeah.
So you couldn't take that road without that guy.
Yeah. Well, and what's crazy now is I think because, some people say like, oh, you're going to go through peaks and valleys. Like you'll probably get to a point where you don't want to work out like you are now, where you don't want to eat like you are now. And I think my age, because I'm 38, going to be 39 this year. And 2, I let myself get so bad between just bad habits like alcohol, eating, and everything like that now I'm like, dude, there's no way I'm going back to that. Like I now that I'm outside of it, I see how miserable I was. You know what I mean? Like just not in a good place mentally, not in a good place physically. Just at the time, I didn't realize how much I was struggling.
Because that was just your daily
Because it was
reality.
my daily reality. And now when I look back on it, I'm like, dude, you were in such a bad place. Like we're not going back there. We're not doing that. I don't care what happens in life. I got to do my things. Like now, like I feel tense and what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. But if I don't make it to the gym, then I feel like shit. I'm like I've
like your
up.
whole day is like
Fucked up.
Man.
Yeah. And then with food, I recently had a real gluttonous day. Like I don't particularly try to diet in any way. I just try to make sure I get enough food in and I don't eat trash. But I had a day where I ate nothing but trash, like a whole lot of it.
Like on purpose? Like
Yeah.
you're like, this is my cheat day?
Kind of like a cheat day. Yeah. But I think I went a little overboard. And
you had a cheat day and a half.
well, no, it was just the one day.
Oh,
it was
but
just
you
so
fit
much.
Cheat in.
It was me and another person. We ate 2 pizzas. Like
you each had your own pizza?
We shared both, but we went through the 2 pizzas.
All right.
Bunch of ice cream, bunch of other crap. And like the next day I couldn't get moving. Like at all. Like I woke up the first time at like 7:30, which I always get up like fairly early now compared to what it used to be, like 12:30, 1 o'clock. And then I did like one thing, went to the couch. I was going to go to the gym and I couldn't get off the couch. I didn't get off of the couch till it was time to get ready for work. And I was just like, I'm fucking miserable.
Were you kicking yourself in your head though? Because you're like, man, all that time I could have done something, but because I chose to eat so bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, oh.
The entire time. I then started telling people, I was like, I can't do that anymore. Like I don't mind having like some chocolate here and there, but I can't just go like real hard on a cheat day like that. I just can't, because it ruins me for the next day. Like I felt sluggish and just terrible. And the whole time I was laying on the couch, I was like, you got to get up. You can't get up. You got to get up. Can't do it.
Your mind was fighting the body.
No, man, my mind wanted to go. My body was like, dude, we are destroyed. It was like worse than my body felt worse than like if I just did like 3 workouts all in one sitting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt miserable.
Your body uses so much energy in the digestion period. So if it's digesting not so great stuff, it's filtering all that out. And it's just like, nope, this is bad. We got to get rid of this. Eject.
Man, it was bad. And it's so crazy because I probably still ate more calories in my normal day. Like now I usually hit around 2,300 to 2,600 calories in a day. But it's good food, so I feel fueled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know how many calories it was. It might have been worse. Who knows? But I felt awful. There was no fuel. There was no fuel in any of that food.
Yeah.
It was miserable. Never again. I don't even mind if I have a cheat day. I just know, like,
you can't go that far.
Hey, order 1 pizza.
And share it with someone.
Yeah. And order, like, eat some ice cream. Not like the whole container.
I feel like that's a lesson you learn as an adult, because as a kid, like, for some reason, I don't know if it's just a childish thought, you want the biggest ice cream they have available.
Yeah.
But like as I got older, I'm like, this little, like the little ones, I think they're quarts, maybe.
Yeah, those little ones like Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah, I'm like,
yeah,
I'm fine with that, and I can take a couple days, couple spoonfuls,
right,
and then just put it back.
That's my thing. I ate a whole one of those, and it was just too much with everything else I had eaten.
Yeah,
and then random other snacks and stuff like that. I wish I could describe how miserable I felt the next day. It was so bad. I didn't want to do a fucking thing. I was like,
do 2 of those CrossFit workouts and try to feel how you felt.
Yeah. Oh, CrossFit.
That's your new adversary.
Yeah, my new conquest.
Your training partner.
Yeah.
Your sparring partner.
The sparring partner. That's a perfect way to describe it. Yeah, I don't like it. I just got to beat it.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to start actually, though, with doing some running and then get back down there.
Just trying to get your wind.
Yeah, just try to get my oxygen up. These cigarettes will help, I'm sure.
I mean, maybe short-term boost.
And I actually, a girl that used to work with me, she actually lives right down the street now. Her and her husband bought a house down there. We just realized it the other day, and she's huge on running. So who knows? Maybe she'll help push me to run some.
Do you have any running experience before? Well, because you did say Air Force, so I'm assuming you guys ran all the time.
Yeah,
in the military, right?
Not the Air
PT
Force
test?
so much. Yeah, PT test, which I always pass. But I have a weird relationship with running. Like when I'm running, like just strict running, I'll actually, even like tomorrow, if I go do it, I'll get to a point where I feel like I can't breathe, push a little bit, and then it goes away, and then I can just run. Like I'll have random times. I haven't done it in a long time now, like maybe 5 years or so. But like one time I took off from a little bit further away. So, but you know where Bob Evans is?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit further away than here, and just ran all the way to Bob Evans. Which is a decent amount. It's, probably a few miles.
Yeah.
Not sure how many. But then I got there and I was like, I can't run back. I have to call somebody.
You had to walk back, or
I
you
just call
got to
somebody.
ride?
Yeah, somebody come get me. That was plenty of running for today. But I would just take off like that randomly, and like say from like here to like the Wintersville McDonald's, I'd just be fucking struggling. But then for some reason, at some point, like my body adjusts, and now I can just run.
Wow.
So hopefully that's what happens this time.
Yeah.
And if I continue to just keep doing that, then I'll be able to get over this breathing issue. Real frustrating. And actually, that was something I forgot that I wanted to bring up too. You said that you went to bartending school.
Yes.
That made me think of it because she was a bartender.
Oh. Okay.
So you went to bartending school.
I did.
And then I said, oh, well, are you looking for a job? And you said, I can tell you on the podcast why I can't.
Yeah. So there's this bartending school. It's called Elite Bartending in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It was, I think, 2011, 2012, somewhere in that time frame. I was at the point where I graduated college and I hadn't got a job in my field.
Yeah.
And it was that weird time in your life where you're like, well, if I'm not getting called in for this, I got to find something else to do. So my mom had just passed away.
Oh.
Like close to that time frame. So she left some money for me and stuff. And it was just like, all right, I got to figure something out. And a friend of mine, were having a conversation and somehow bartending came up. And he's like, man, they probably make so much money. You know, they get the tips and all this stuff. And you know, it might be fun, like you're socializing, whatever. And I was like, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
So it was like, how do we go about doing that? And we just looked on, well, I looked online. He never went with it, but I looked online. It was like bartending school. Pittsburgh is like, it's pretty close. So I look them up, get their contact info and do all that. And it's basically, you're there for a week, but it's 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
So you're getting 40 hours of training with this bartending thing. It's like they have the real bottles, but they use like a dye.
Yeah.
So you're not just wasting alcohol during your training.
Yeah.
And it comes out like about the same way the alcohol would. So you're learning like what it should feel like when you're doing your pours.
With your counts.
Working, you know, in the bar, like grabbing stuff like, hey, get this. And, you know, they had like the soda gun and all that stuff. So you're getting 40 hours of pretty realistic training minus the hey, I need this.
Yeah.
But like you're getting your basics down. And then at the end, they gave you like, I think it was like 30 minutes to make 12 drinks. Okay. I think it was like, this was our final exam. It's like you flip this placard over and they're like, all right, start with, I don't know. Let's just say
mojito. Yeah,
like make a mojito, and then you basically go like, all right, well, I need the muddles, I need the ice, the rum, you know, all that stuff, and you make that drink. Drink one, drink two, you know, whatever. And it's like I passed it. I got my certification and all that stuff. And the first and only thing I ever applied for was the Steubenville Applebee's. I walked in, I was like, oh, I got my certificate. It was like, I know the people that work here don't have this level of training. So it's like, this should be a no-brainer. And it's like, I filled out the application. I never heard anything from them. And I was like, you know what? I'm not bartending.
Yeah.
And I never tried anywhere else. So I had this cool certification, spent all this hundreds of dollars to learn this skill.
Yeah.
And never got paid for it. But it paid off in social settings because now I'm the guy that can make all the good drinks and make them taste just like the restaurants and the bars.
Yeah.
So I would, because from that bartending school, I bought the bartending set.
Yeah.
So I had a shaker, I had my pours, like I had all this stuff to be basically a bartender, and I just took it to parties and all this stuff. So it was like, oh, what do you need? Is like, I'll just make it for you right here. And so it became a really cool social skill set that I had to pay for,
but
I had fun with it outside of the context of making actual money from it.
Yeah, I bartend. I'm a pretty good bartender. I love bartending. I love the social aspect. I love making drinks. I get creative with it. Like the other day, somebody came in and they're like, this lady really wants a cucumber martini. And I'm like, we don't have any cucumber alcohols here. And she was like, so no. I was like, just go to the kitchen and get some cucumbers. I'll figure something out. So she went and got it, and I used Hendrick's gin. I just put that in the shaker. 2 ounces of Hendrick's gin, like 4 cucumbers, about a half ounce of simple syrup, and about a little less than half a squeezed lime, and muddled that together, and then threw some ice in it, and then shook it up. and then had the strainer so none of the chunks of cucumber would go into the drink.
Yeah.
And God, then I couldn't stop fucking making the things. Because,
Like they were such a hit at that point?
Yeah, and it's semi-time consuming just because of the cucumber, like, especially because I don't have cucumber stocked at the bar.
Right.
But so, like, the two waitresses that were working, they wanted to taste it, and they don't like gin. And they were like, this is phenomenal.
Okay.
And then so then they took it to that table, and the table was like, this is the best cucumber martini I've ever had. And I was like, shit. And then so then she kept ordering them, and then the lady at the server's next table, she always gets the caramel appletini, and she was like, I really want to try something different. Like, what should I get off this list? And the waitress was like, well, he just made up this cucumber martini. And I was like, and so she rang it in. I'm like, this table left. I know they left because the drink came in. Mm-hmm. She's like, I sold it to this other table. And I was like, oh, man. So I sold it. So then I started making them for this lady. And she came up to the bar afterwards, and she was like, so I always drink the caramel appletini. She's like, I love it. She was like, you've changed my life with this martini. And I was like, so, man.
You're like, I changed my life, too. Now I give myself more work.
Yeah.
Thank you, lady.
Right. So now I'm just, what I'm really nervous for is when they try to order it from somebody else, because I made it up. You know,
right.
You're
going to have to leave your cheat sheet.
I know. I'm going to have to write it. And the same thing happened one time with a raspberry martini. This guy came in, and he kept ordering raspberry martini, and we don't have any raspberry vodka, so people weren't figuring out how to make it. And I just was like, I'll use red berry Ciroc and Chambord. That's a raspberry liqueur. Yep. And then I forget, and I was like, I'll just do a couple squirts of lemonade, and then like I have one other thing in there, and I made it. And now that guy comes in, and I joked around. So the guy tried it, and he's like, this is phenomenal. And I had made she came back and told me that when he ordered another one, and I was jokingly, because I never went to school for any of this. Mm-hmm. Jokingly, I went. That's because I'm a mixologist. I even said it like that. And then so she went to the table and told him that. So the next time this guy comes in, he has a different server. He's like, yeah, the one bartender knows exactly how to make it. He was like, they call him the mixologist.
Wow.
So,
you got a nickname out
so
of it.
I'm in the cigar bar, and this server is running around, I guess, on the front bar asking everybody, like, who is the blah, blah, blah.
Who's the mixologist?
And so then she comes in the cigar bar. She goes, Dave, are you the mixologist? I'm like, oh, my God. Yeah, I'm not really a mixologist, but yes, the guy's talking about me. I'll make the raspberry martini.
Wow.
But so now that guy comes in all the time, and he ended up calling the drink specifically something to him. So that's how he orders it now. But
you don't get to do that when someone makes it for you.
Man,
you have to make the drink.
Right. He should call it should be called like the Hammer Martini or something.
Yeah. Hammer time.
Hammer time. Let me tell you, that guy, I'm glad that his wife comes with him because he gets hammered on them because he chugs them like they're Kool-Aid.
See, I have a drink, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, because back to wrestling, the KSWA specifically, we would wrestle in it was like a moose. So it's one of those establishments where you have the upper level. Most places, the lower level, there's like a bar area. And it was like, we would wrestle on the top floor. The ring would be in there, everything, the people would come. And then after the show, we'd have an after party at the lower level.
Yeah.
So there was a bar, and the promoters, they would basically pay a certain amount so the wrestlers could get free drinks until it ran out.
Right.
So we had like a tab.
Yeah.
So you could just get whatever. So one night we were all sitting at the bar trying to figure out what to drink, and I came up with the idea of a peach snob and Sprite.
Okay.
And I just called that the Iceman.
Yeah.
And
nice.
Then people were just coming up like, "What's this?" And I was like, "It's the Iceman. Here,
here
try it."
Yeah.
It seemed to be a hit with a couple of our friends, so it was like, and my girlfriend.
Yeah.
So
she's a big fan.
I have that in the back pocket if I ever need to just throw something, that's not gonna make your face peel off, and you still, you're social.
I'd say it's a good social drink because it's not a good fucked up drink.
No. It would take forever.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna use the restroom real quick. I'll be right back.
Should I talk to myself or just?
Hey, you do whatever you want to do, bro.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna talk to myself too much. Maybe just a smidge. I don't know. We'll see. Good times. I know when I graduated the bartending school, as part of our ceremony, we got to make ourselves a drink, and the drink that they said we can make using real liquor was the buttery nipple. Just FYI on that. That was my celebration drink after I graduated. I'm out of coffee. The only thing you missed is I said on here, after I graduated bartending school, they let us make like a drink,
Hold
like
on one
to
second.
commemorate. Okay.
And we're back with Iceman, Tony Johnson.
Yeah, so I don't know if he's gonna edit out what I said, but while you had to take care of business,
Yeah.
I said after I graduated bartending school, they let us make a real drink afterwards to commemorate. Hey, you made it, you passed.
Yeah.
And the drink we all had to make was a buttery nipple.
Oh, really?
So that was our we did it.
Like a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fairly basic too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's butter shots.
Butterscotch. There was, I think it was like 3 things. I think in the shot.
It's been so long since Bailey's.
2 or 3. Yeah. Yep.
It's been
it might
so
be
long since I made
just
that.
those 2 actually.
Yeah, I think that might be it too. I mean, it might be a variation where they add something else. It's been so long since I've made stuff like that because I'm at that Garden Grill, the fancy bar, so I'm making old fashions,
Tom
martinis,
Collins.
Tom Collins. I hate when people bring in stuff like that because Tom Collins, you just don't make enough. So like, even though it's a simple drink, I always have to be like, wait, what?
do you check your phone? Like, what's in it? Yeah.
Yeah. Just usually check the phone real quick. And then there we have so many drinks that there's some that we don't make very often. Now it's getting to the point where like I remember them regardless. But every once in a while they'll ring in something and I'll be like, oh, we never make this. And it'll be, of course, be like when we're crazy busy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, we never make this. Now I have to look it up. Because
Do you guys have barbacks there?
No, it wasn't initially busy enough. And then too, like, so usually in a restaurant where you have like a service bar, so where they have like their own bar guests and then they also have the ticket machine for the servers' drinks, usually you will have 2 bartenders. But honestly, up there, the bartender's not making enough money to share it with another bartender. The cigar bar, they could put a bunch of bartenders back there and they'd probably still be fine. They'd be mad because they're used to what money they're making back there now, but it's
Right.
but so it's just one person. And like what I always try to tell people with that is efficiency of movement. Like, set up your bar before you start so that all your station is like ready to go.
You know exactly where the vodka is, the
Well,
wells.
even your utensils. Like I put by the server station where I put the server drinks, I will put like all my shakers stacked. I will put one shaker the opposite way with my spoons and my strainers and that. And I put my orange peeler, or really just fruit peeler, over here. My twist peeler over there, my little handheld juicer over there, and then some of the like the shaker caps over on that side as well. I prefer the strainer, but some things you just have to use the cap because they don't have the setup where you can use like basically the 2 metal tins and shake. They have it like the goofy thing. I don't like those, but but it's what we have. But like, set all that up so that you're ready to go. If you're a bar that if you typically make a lot of old fashions, there's a little table area down beneath there. Put all your stuff for an old fashioned right there. Just have it ready to go.
Yeah.
And then yes, know where your stuff is. Know where your alcohols are. And when you have what seems like free time, even if you have a bar guest, you can talk to that bar guest why you do these dishes, because you're gonna run out of shit.
Yeah.
So I always preach efficiency of movement. Like when I know somebody's gonna drown when I see them just like walk back and forth real quick without grabbing anything. I'm like, you're lost. You're
like this is time you could be utilizing to help you in the future when the rush does.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm saying even when like say it is a rush. So now when you're in a rush, you don't want to like walk over here and be like, shit, what am I over here for? Wait, that's over here, and go back there. It's not efficient. You know what I mean? So just know where your stuff is and always be prepared to be busy, because I know there's slow days, but you never know. That slow day could end up being a busy day. So get ready.
Yeah.
And be ready.
Prepare for the worst.
Yeah. And I did the same thing when I ran the pizza shop too. I had one manager that would be on the other side of the cut table, and he would like just go back and forth and not do anything. I'm like, listen, your problem is your efficiency of movement. Like
what was he doing in these transitional?
Just
walks?
Literally just back and forth,
just looking,
just like
what they have.
You know what I mean? Like just stuck. Like, hey, you need to just slow down. You can actually go slower so that your brain isn't going like that, and but every time you're moving, grab something or do something instead of just pacing back and forth because you've let yourself get overwhelmed. And then cigarette breaks. Like obviously I smoke cigarettes, but I don't really smoke that often. But podcasts is where I smoke the most. I also don't take cigarette breaks at work because it just puts you behind.
Right.
Like you'll just get through like your crazy time and you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to smoke a cigarette. So then you're like, okay, I got to get all this set back up in case we get hit again, but I'm going to sneak in a cigarette real quick. You go out there, you sneak in the cigarette, you come back in. It's chaos again already. You know what
Where do you guys come from? Did you hear I was on break?
Yeah. So
Here
I just don't, because people are like, oh, well, otherwise I get too stressed. I'm like, as soon as you walk back in, you're stressed because you're not set up for the second pop, and now it's crazy again.
Choose your stress.
Yeah, right. So I stopped smoking at work years ago. Efficiency. That's what it has to deal with, which I was doing really good work-wise, but I was not doing well personal life.
Oh.
So that's what I've been trying to switch up.
Do you feel like you get like a buzz off the cigarette, the nicotine specifically, like for your podcast, or is it just more of a habit?
A habit. And like something to do with my hands.
Okay.
Otherwise I might be like
that fixation.
Yeah, otherwise I might be like Ricky Bobby, like just slowly putting my hands up in front of my face because I don't know what to do with them.
Or Bring It On, where it's like, those aren't spirit fingers.
These are spirit fingers. Yeah. That's hilarious.
Bring It On, classic.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, cigarettes is going to be the next thing to quit, but I figured I'm making so many changes, I don't want to overwhelm myself.
Right.
So
nail down the most essential change and then pick away as you go.
And I'm sure some people are like, well, Dave, you've lost 40 pounds, so you're probably like there, but like it's been 2 months. So
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's been 2 months. These habits are still new habits.
Right. You're still forming that groove in your brain of like, oh, this is what I do now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because sometimes it's still a fight. Like there are definitely days where I'm like, I would rather just sleep on this couch all day, even without the junk food. But I got to get my ass up.
Especially on like the rainy day we had today. Like that's perfect nap weather. That overcast.
Yep.
It's comfortable out. It's 50. Probably not a lot of traffic going around.
Yeah, I could just open that window a little bit. Perfect nap weather.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I didn't make it to the gym today. I wanted to, but I just too much going on. I did some club workout. Did some of that. We'll see. Who knows? I might make it to the gym before I go eat. I think I'm gonna go get wings.
Well, don't you have another podcast tonight?
Yeah, it'll be after that we do any of that.
So that's like the late one.
That one's at 6. Yeah,
can get wild.
That's normally what time I do by that is 6. We did this earlier just because we had to move things around because I picked up a cigar bar shift actually next Saturday. I appreciate you doing it actually too.
No problem. It's funny, you and Amanda both scheduled me one day and then like, actually, can you come like I think the week before? So I mean, it's funny. The yoga instructor is like, "Hey, can you be flexible on your schedule?" And then
it did the fool does the same thing.
I didn't know what to call you.
Yeah. Well, it's gathering a fool, so it seems fitting. Yeah.
Yeah. On brand.
Yeah. But yeah, I just felt like I couldn't pass up that cigar bar shift. Those cigar bar shifts, man, I could make a lot of money in one night. Like,
And is that like, what level of like places? Is that like uppity people? Is it just everyday folks? Like what?
well, there's a mixture.
Okay.
There's everyday folk. There's also wealthier people in there. But what I like about the cigar bars, they all intermingle in there.
Oh, so it doesn't seem like a super issue with class. Like,
No.
I make six figures. And
No.
I'm making minimum wage.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah.
No, there's never a problem with that. We have like cigars and stuff for everybody. The biggest thing I'd say is maybe the drinks are a little bit more expensive, but you're also, I mean, you're paying for atmosphere. You're paying for the skill of the bartender that we have. You're paying for all these different things. Because in the cigar bar, there's like, it's a little bit darker in there. There's leather couches. Besides
Wow.
the bar, there's leather
Yeah.
couches. We have all like high-end bourbon, high-end scotch. But then like our bottom shelf though is like Jim Beam. We don't have like
Wow. There's no well.
no,
liquor.
there's no well. Yeah, our bottom shelf is Jim Beam.
And that's like most people's mid.
Yeah.
Like level.
Yeah, that's our bottom, and it's
Wow.
and I want to say it's like $4 or $5 for a drink with Jim Beam.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
But people that go there probably are already going for the top brands anyway, so they're not even looking for the Jim Beam at that place.
Yeah, we typically don't go through. I'd say probably a lot of Jim Beam. We go through like the mid-range bourbon more, and mid-range scotch. Really bourbon, man. Bourbon's really what it's all about these days.
Do you
Which
think
works
you
for
could
me 'cause I
ever
love
rent
bourbon.
that place out and do like a podcast there?
Yeah, I'm sure he would let me do a podcast. I actually have a couple of for the bourbon podcast that I do, Bastards of Bourbon. I've recently found out my friend whose name is Jimmy Cool,
Really?
but it's Kuhl.
No relation to Joe Cool?
No, but I recently found out like he was my manager at a restaurant, but I found out that he actually is like invested in restaurants too, and one of them is a really cool speakeasy style bar in downtown Pittsburgh, and he said we could do one there, and then my partner on Bastards of Bourbon, Steve Bolger, met some people from a bourbon distillery in PA, and they said we could come to their place and do a podcast and do some of their stuff. So
Wow. That's cool.
yeah, which is a good test for me too, because me and Amanda started this LLC, the One You Feed Labs, and that's one of the things we want to do is if people want to record in a space that they feel more comfortable in or that they think works for aesthetically for what they're trying to do, we can go to you. Like I have carrying cases for these lights and everything like that, and so that's one thing we want to offer. So
everything you do is an audio and visual component, like it's both. Mm-hmm. It's not just audio recording.
I don't do any just audio.
Okay.
Yeah. Everything I do has the video aspect, and I taught myself how to do all that, and like I'm excited for the possibility of doing commercials for people too, because I paid when I was managing a different place. We paid these people to do this commercial for us, and a decent amount of money. And when it was all said and done, like looking back on it now, knowing what I know how to do, I'm like that's actually pretty basic, and I can at least do that, if not more.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it was basic fade in, fade outs, and putting text on the screen, like all that. None of that is really all that complicated to do. So,
And you're like, oh, that could have went in my pocket. Whatever
Yeah.
that budget was.
right. So now we want to start doing that. We're going hopefully here in the next few months we'll do a commercial for a business and see how it goes. But I'm excited for everything with that LLC, man. It's the first time I've ever had anything like this, and the first time I've pursued doing something financially for myself instead of running businesses for other people.
Right.
Yeah. So it's exciting, nerve-wracking, all at the same time.
Well, I mean, you got a good partner in Amanda who's, been in business, in multiple businesses, different industries for years now. So
yeah, and she's good. She's good at pushing me the way that I need push. Like, because I don't know if procrastination is right, but like I want things perfect before I start.
perfectionism.
Yeah, I want it perfect before I start. Like, oh, we can't start yet because this isn't all lined up. And she'll be like, well, no, you can. She's like, you can start bringing in customers or clients or whatever while you're still maneuvering some of this other stuff. And she's right. I just need to get past that portion where I want everything to be perfect before I start.
Yeah.
Obviously I want the finished product to be perfect.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that the in-between can't be a little messy for now.
Yeah. I mean, really, perfectionism is like procrastination's cousin.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't feel you're ready, you're never going to start.
Right.
And by not starting, you're procrastinating.
Right.
So, I mean, they're all related.
That's true. That's what she called it, resistance, which is from the War of Art. Yeah.
It's Pressfield.
Yeah, and she's for sure right about that. So, I don't know. I'm excited to see where it goes and to maybe, be my own boss one day. That'd be phenomenal.
It's the dream.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love it if the podcast itself took off to just pay for stuff too, but we'll see how that plays out. No matter what, I'm going to keep doing it. I just love doing it.
Right.
Have you been enjoying your experience with it so far?
Yes and no. Like, starting a podcast, I definitely realize the inadequacies that I have personally, like recording, hearing myself like in the editing process and just getting used to that. Also learning how to research things. Because ideally I would just go somewhere, all the information would be already laid out for me. I could just nitpick and choose and be like, all right, I'll talk about this, add my own flair to it and put it out.
Yeah.
But that's not how my podcast is structured. Like, I have to go out, I have to find some research to back, the topic,
right,
and then sprinkle in my own personal experience and then mix it and then put it out.
Yeah.
So it's just learning how to research, getting better with speaking and laying out a whole episode, and all that stuff. But I mean, that's to be expected with something new.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what I always tell people. I said, when I first started this, I didn't realize how much work I was going to be putting in. I'm lucky in the fact that I'm just trying to have conversations with people, so I don't really map out what I'm going to do for an episode that much or at all. But then no matter what, the behind the scenes stuff takes time, and I have to make time to do that. And juggling that between my job and everything else, I tell people, I'm like, yeah, it's like I have a second job. My hobby is like a second job that I don't get paid for. Yeah. Because I have to put hours in.
Yeah, because you're editing not only the audio, like you said, you have the visual component, so you got to make sure that all lines up.
Yeah.
And then you're reaching out to people to schedule interviews. And
yeah,
it probably is like a second job that just doesn't pay you yet.
Yeah, and the scheduling is what does become an issue for me sometimes, because I'll just forget, like, hey man, you got to schedule guests.
Oh yeah, this product I put out, I need people to fill it,
right?
Otherwise I'm gonna be talking to myself.
And you got to find people that can also have the time to do it, because like I have one friend I'm waiting to get back on, because me and him always have great conversations. He's just a really close personal friend of mine, Justin Blanton. And
I know him. I went to school with him.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Him,
the Alan Deanna Ball, like all those group of guys, they were my class.
Yeah, what's funny, I'm really good friends with all those guys. Yeah,
because isn't your sister in the same?
My brother.
Brothers. Okay.
Yeah, my sister's close too.
Okay.
Yeah, she's only like a year or two behind him or something like that.
Because I remember hearing like the Hammer last name like around my time, and I was like Hannah and PJ.
Yeah,
and it was like I was around their age. I just wasn't sure where they fell.
Yeah. But most of those guys, they all played soccer with PJ.
Okay.
And so that's how I ended up getting to know him when I came home from the Air Force, and we just all became like kind of my group of friends, which had dwindled some through the years, just melded in with that group of friends, and we just became like one big
super group.
Yeah, it's like, and we still all keep in contact with each other, even though we're like spread out. It's a group of like, I don't know, 20 or 30 guys. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And every once in a blue moon, we organize what we call like a family vacation, where we just rent out a place that has a lot of sleeping space and just all go and party, basically, just to let loose for a weekend.
What's the best place you guys did that?
Deep Creek always seems to be the great place, because you can get like, they call them cabins. They're really like mini mansions, and they're reasonably priced. And so the first time we did it was actually for my brother's bachelor party.
Okay.
And there was probably 20 some guys, just all guys, and we didn't do any like strippers or anything like that. We just, for a weekend, we just went and partied with each other, and we consumed copious amounts of alcohol. It was outrageous. But I told people, like, what's crazy about our group of friends is to have like 20 some guys all stuck in the same house for an entire weekend, getting basically as fucked up as possible, and not even have one argument.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's always seems kind of crazy to me when I think about it.
It's a good mix of people then.
Yeah.
There's no ego. There's no hidden resentments. It
Right.
seems like it's all.
Yeah, just big group of friends. Yeah, the ego gets left at the door. Alan actually, you know what icing is?
No.
So like smearing off ice, like somebody will ice you. Like basically, sometimes it's like they'll hide them around the house, and if you find it, you have to like go to one knee and chug the whole thing. Or somebody will just like hand it to you, and you have to like, and you have to like you turn around and they're right there with it, and you're like, oh, son of a bitch. Well, Alan, first thing in the morning, one of the nights we were up there, hands me a Smirnoff, and I'm like, you son of a bitch. So I get down on my knee and I chug it, and then he's like, yeah, I found that in the bathroom. I'm like, no, that means it was yours. You were somebody hit it. You found it. You're supposed to drink
he
it.
cast off his ice onto you.
Yeah.
He re-iced you, refroze you.
Yeah, I'm like, that's some bullshit, Alan.
You gotta get the rule book out. Like, can you re-ice, re-gift?
Right? Yeah. This isn't a Christmas present.
Yeah. It's like, I don't like this. This doesn't go with my house.
Yeah.
Here, take this mixing bowl.
Yeah. But yeah, so I've been trying to get Justin on, but like he just bought a house and his work schedule and all that, so it's been hard to get him on. Me and him just get goofier than hell, though. I don't know how well you know him, but
Well enough.
he's a fun guy.
Yeah, his mom is awesome. She worked at Big Red when I was there. I think she worked in the library.
Yeah.
I think she was, and she taught Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah, she was awesome.
For me, she taught English when I was there, and she was my English teacher, and she hated me.
Oh.
She loves me now, but she hated me back then. I got kicked out of class like at least 2 or 3 times a
Were you a
week.
troublemaker in school?
I was just a talker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was just a talker, and it got to the point because I was like, all right, I can't keep getting kicked out of this class. It got to the point that like somebody would like ask me for a pen, and I'd be like, I don't even have a book bag. Like, what do you think I have? And she'd be like, Mr. Hammer, talking again. I'm like, no, he asked me. All right. And then I would go to the office, and literally McVeigh would be like, what happened now? And I'd be like, somebody asked me for, I don't know, man. And he'd be like, just go somewhere. Just go somewhere. So I would just be like walking around the school. That's all after I got kicked out. And I never had any animosity towards her. She was right. I was talking. But, but now we get along great. Like if I see her, Arnie, we talk the whole time. Just great family. And she's a sweetheart of a lady.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
Even from my limited experience, she was always nice.
Yeah. It's always funny to me, though, now that I look back on it, because I ended up being such good friends with her son, and now me and her get along great, but back then, kicked me out of class damn near every day.
I mean, it's better it worked out the way it did instead of, like, starting out good, and now it's, like, 2 adults, you give each other, like, the stink eye, and it's like, I don't want you around my son. It's like, I'm going to hang around him anyway. And then,
I'll show you.
Yeah. He's an adult. He gets to choose.
Yeah. Can't kick me out of class now.
Can't kick me out of life. You'll go to jail.
It's called murder.
Yep. Hope you like Orange is the New Black. That's where you're going, lady.
Start your own little sitcom. That's great. All right, man. Well, I think we've had a good conversation. You got anything else?
Nope. If you want to follow me on social media, Facebook is Tony S. Instagram is Iceman _Tony _Johnson. Twitter is Iceman Tony J, and the stereo app is also Iceman Tony J.
And the podcast is
Side Missions.
Yep, and it's available on
Spotify mostly. The other ones I don't really know, so look for me on Spotify.
Yeah, Spotify is a good place to find all the podcasts.
It's safe, yes.
Yeah, and who knows, maybe one day we'll get you on YouTube and everything else. Because some of those videos you were doing for the side missions, it'd be good if you had like the YouTube aspect and stuff to it.
Something to look forward to.
Who knows? Maybe one day you'll be a client of the One You Feed Labs.
I mean, I gotta eat.
There you go.
I can be the one you feed.
There we go. All right. Well, I appreciate you doing this, brother. I can't wait to see how your podcast does in the future, and I will actually probably be listening to it today and tomorrow. So, all right.
All right. Be careful. It's only 2 episodes, so
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for it still.
Be too hard.
Oh, how long are they?
The first full episode was 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And then that XP episode, like as a recap, was 15.
Nice. Yeah. So it's also you don't have to attribute too much time to it either.
Nope.
So
Quick little listen.
perfect. All right, brother. Appreciate it. And Gathering Fools, we are out of here. See you soon for Be Kind.